This episode of the Curly Critics is brought to you by our brand new merch store, found at tpublic.com, Curly Critics Pod. Link is in the description.
From WBNE.
Hi, I'm Cari.
And I'm Jade.
And we're the Curly Critics. And today we're talking about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The book.
Yeah. So, we've established that I haven't read or seen any of these, and that's the whole point of us doing this, is Cari's the seasoned veteran, and I'm just here being dragged along because I agreed to do this for some reason.
Yeah, so in our last episodes, we watched and read. I listened to it. I listened to the first Harry Potter book and movie, and now we're on book 2.
Hallelujah. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I wasn't super impressed by it. Yeah. I don't know. I have some, points to back that up, but, you had asked me last night, well, was this better than the first book? And in my honest opinion, there's pros and cons to both, I would say. I liked all the describing parts of book 1, and I usually don't like stuff like that, oh, here's how wizards and witches work, and here's how the school works, and here's what Quidditch is, and that was probably my favorite part of last book, because that was just so detailed and so cool. This book, I kind of saw where it was headed, and what was gonna happen next, and I was like, oh yeah, there's probably gonna be some twist at the end. Okay, yeah, there was. I could just kind of see where it was headed, whereas the first go around, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, even though the first 3 chapters were like being tortured.
I kept telling her, I was like, it's okay, stuff actually starts happening by the second chapter in this book. It's okay.
Thank goodness. Yeah. This book was a lot easier to get through. I just wasn't... I didn't like it as much, I guess.
Fair.
I mean, it's fine. It's whatever.
I wonder if you're gonna like these books more as they get older.
I mean, probably.
Because, in my, opinion, the first and second book are, the 2... most childlike, and probably the third one too. I just really like the third one, so I always forget, because they're 11 and 12, and the things that are happening are not that serious, but by book 4 the stuff that's happening is legit life and death stuff.
I mean, he did almost die twice.
Yes. But he's 12.
Yeah, so I feel like that makes it worse.
When we get to book 4, you'll see what I mean.
Okay, fine.
Don't want to say too much.
Okay, so we'll just kind of go through the chapters, see what's happening.
Yeah, we're not going to describe this book, because I hope if you're listening, you've already have some experience with Harry Potter.
Yeah, I mean...
If you don't, you can read it just like Jade.
Yeah, probably go read it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I read it in a day, and my eyes are tired, so it happens. Get good light bulbs, ladies and gentlemen. So really my only significant notes for chapter 1, I said Harry laughing at the Dursleys is a mood, because he's always just laughing at them. He thinks they're stupid, and they are, so they deserve some, some laughs.
I think overall this book is a really good one for Harry's development towards sassy Harry.
Yeah, yep.
That first book, he was just, wondered and amazed at everything, and was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. And then book 2, we're like, ah, yes. Sassy Harry emerges.
Yeah, I made a note about that. I said Harry Potter and Percy Jackson's sarcasm are pretty parallel. It reminds me of Spider-Man, like fun and cunning, but still brave and heroic. Kind of the whole my weakness, it's small knives moment. Like,
Harry Potter's Peter Parker, pass it on.
yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. He can just talk to snakes instead of spiders. Little known fact.
After the Miles Spider-Man, it's Harry Potter.
Ooh.
There probably is another Spider-Man after that. Comic book
Probably.
nerds, please don't come for me.
Oh no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Um,
What did you...
chapter 2. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was moving on to chapter 2, so... What do you think
Oh.
about Dobby?
It was just. It was a weird experience. That's pretty much all I wrote for that chapter was like, this is so weird. Like, what is going on? Everyone seems to be obsessed with this character for some reason, and I don't. It was just weird. Like,
Yeah,
the
I'm
whole
gonna say,
thing was
Dobby's
really
one
weird.
of the most beloved characters.
I know, and I'm like, okay.
He doesn't come back until book 4.
What? Alright, whatever. It's fine. I didn't think
I
the
mean-
sock thing would happen this book. I didn't think it would happen so soon because I feel like more quotes and things happen later. And so I don't get them yet.
Yeah. I like
But the
look up
whole-
something all the time and I'm like, what quote is that? What book is that from? I want to tell Jade about this quote. And I'm like, oh, we haven't gotten there yet.
Well,
There's a really good Oliver Wood quote and I can't wait until we get to it.
he's so pretty. Okay. Yeah. And even looking at because I have the book with the little sketches for the chapters.
Yeah, so do I.
And
I didn't realize it until the last chapter and I was like, oh yeah, sketches.
oh my gosh. You're just like going along, whatever. Yeah, even the little sketch of Dobby and what I've seen of him from GIFs or clips or whatever, I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Okay.
Yeah, we can come back to the Dobby thing once we get his full story.
Okay.
But at the beginning, yeah, I agree with you. He's a little bit weird. And all he does is cause trouble for Harry.
Yeah.
And, like, literally almost gets him killed multiple times.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But he's in 2 more books, so we'll see.
This book made me think a lot about. Of course, the first book made me think about this too, but chapters 2 and 3 made me think a lot about, like, if kids were reading this and they experienced a lot of the same things Harry did, how that would make them feel. And, like, what if you didn't have the Weasley brothers in a flying car to come rescue you? It just got very dark for some reason, and I don't know. I loved that idea that you could maybe bring hope to someone. Like, no, flying car isn't realistic, but maybe there is someone out there that's like, oh, they're gonna come rescue me from this.
Yeah, in the next book we'll talk about this a lot. Because she, like, forms a whole character around this, but J.K. Rowling, like, wrote these books while she was, like, in depression. And so, in book 3, she introduces these characters that are literally based on her, like, understanding of depression.
Whoa.
And so, like, it's, like, kind of, like, this way to be, like, an escape.
Mm-hmm.
Of, like, these
Yeah.
terrible things are happening, but, like, Harry gets to escape to the magical world.
Right, yeah.
And so he doesn't get to be abused all the time. I mean, not by the Dursleys. By Lord Voldemort, sure.
It's fine.
A little
Don't
bit
worry
by
about it.
Dumbledore, but a lot by Snape.
And Draco.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in the end. Draco and
Still
Harry.
don't. I still don't get it.
Draco and Harry is like the number one ship. I should look up what the number one ships are. But
I don't like that.
it's very weird.
Ew. I don't like that.
I spelled top wrong.
Oh, good. Let's see. This note's really funny. So in chapter 3, when he's going to the Weasleys, I made a note that was like, they should just adopt him, please. That'd be so nice. And then my very next note is, she's yelling at her sons and making Harry food. Can she adopt me, please? It was just so nice. I love Miss Weasley.
The way that she treats Harry is so great. All of the
It's
Weasleys
so
are just
great.
like, Harry's being abused by the Dursleys. Let's go rescue him with a flying car. Harry's being abused by the Dursleys. Let's feed him and make him feel loved and appreciated.
Yeah. And she only kind of yells at him with the howler. I'm like, nice.
Okay, I looked up the ships, and I'm like reading this person's comments, and they're really funny. But they say that Draco and Harry is the number one.
Ew.
Like, just like looking at fan fiction sites.
Yeah.
And then maybe I shouldn't read these. Yeah, we'll get back to this.
Okay.
Travel.
Oh, so I love how Ron has his Quidditch team everywhere in his room. 'Cause that's,
The cannons.
yeah, that's what my room looks like. Like, I have my favorite sports team stuff all over my room.
I have my favorite Broadway shows all over my room because I'm a nerd
Yeah,
and I don't really like sports.
exactly.
I think I would be a fan of Quidditch though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like rugby.
Yep. Um, let's see.
Now I have too many tabs open.
Chapter 4. Harry keeps breaking his glasses. Boy, just get contacts, I swear.
Okay. Did the Dursleys take him to the eye doctor?
Did you ask that last time? Because I feel like,
I might have. It's something that bothers me. There was another,
yeah.
like, existential question I asked while I was reading this, but I didn't write it down, so I don't remember what it was.
I
It's
mean, if
fine.
anything, they would have just, like, gotten annoyed at him for not being able to, like, do things correctly since he couldn't see.
Yeah, but
That's the only justification.
glasses are expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, if they wanted their own live-in maid,
Good point. I'm just imagining the Dursleys having to take Harry to the eye doctor. You can't, like, be mean to him there. Because it's a doctor's office.
right.
In this chapter, we meet Lockhart.
One of the funniest Goodread reviews I saw was I came for the I came for the saga, but I stayed for Gilderoy Lockhart. I was just like, stop, don't. He's the worst. And he doesn't get any better. He just stays awful the whole time.
Yeah. He's a really funny character. In the movie, especially the guy who plays him is just really funny.
That's good. At least I have something to look forward to.
I was trying to look up what book we meet Bill Weasley for the first time.
Ooh, Bill.
Because we just keep hearing about him.
Yeah. Um, I thought flu powder sounded a lot like shadow traveling, and I just think that's funny. It's a
cool.
good parallel.
From Percy Jackson?
Yeah.
Well, no. There's something that apparition.
Yeah.
Have they talked about that yet?
Yeah, a little bit.
I feel like that's more like shadow travel. If I remember
But
shadow
the
travel
way
right.
he was describing being in it, where there's all these tunnels and stuff, like, that's kind of how they describe shadow traveling.
Okay, I believe you. It's been a long time since I read those books.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Plot hole. How would 12-year-old Ron know how to drive a flying car?
Was Ron driving?
Yeah. When they got stuck out of nine and three
Oh.
quarters.
I thought you meant picking up the Dursleys.
No.
I mean, when you're flying in the air, there's nothing to, like, avoid hitting.
Well, yeah, I just mean like getting it started and getting into the air and knowing all the stuff and the little nuances and
I mean, it's not that hard to pick up. You put the key in, you turn it, and you press the pedals. And you turn the wheel. And when you're flying in the air, the worst thing you're going to do is hit a cloud.
I mean,
So it's not
I
like,
guess.
make sure you press the gas halfway through a turn because it doesn't matter, no one's there.
I guess. I don't know.
Maybe Ron just knows how to drive a car.
Why? Why would he know how to do that?
I don't know. Maybe it's a secret ambition to live as a muggle.
No. I do not accept that. Of all the trees we could have hit, we had to get the one that hits back. Same.
I love that tree. We learn a lot about that tree in the next book.
Okay, good, because I was like, they really amped this tree up, and then it just kind of doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's like a fairly major plot point for the next book.
Okay, good to know.
I don't know what chapter I'm on.
Colin Creevy! Colin!
Harry's so annoyed by him the whole book. And honestly, I would be
Yeah.
too. If I had a fanboy.
I've had a few people who've done that to me, and yeah, it gets old very fast. And you try your hardest to be like, oh, they're just a kid, they don't know any better, they just want someone to look up to and someone to hang out with. But after a while, you're just like, okay, I'm done. Stop taking pictures of me. I will not give you my autograph. Go
Yeah.
away.
That's the point of the book where I was like, Lockhart is kind of obnoxious.
Oh my god.
Like, he stopped being, like, funny and started being, like, full-on obnoxious.
Oh, it didn't hit you when they had to take that quiz of all
I
his
think that's
favorite
hilarious.
things? I
Because his answers to
hated
the
that.
things are so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what's his
Nobody
favorite
knew
color?
my favorite color was lilac.
Exactly. First off, what kind of grown man's favorite color is lilac?
At one point they did call him buoyant, and I would argue flamboyant because of his favorite color. But that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll come back to that after you watch the movie and you see what they dress him in.
Is it anything close to what they said?
Well, yeah, it's just it's like very flamboyant.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
I'll find a picture and send it to you. I found one with Lockhart with a mask on.
Ew, no. Ugh.
As if
Yeah. Please.
Lockhart wouldn't do it because then you couldn't see his smile.
Yeah. I can't have empathy for human beings.
Rank the Harry Potter characters on most likely to wear a mask to least likely.
Oh my gosh. Ah. We don't need to talk about that.
That's really funny, though. I'm hilarious.
That is funny. Oh my goodness. No, thank you.
Almost knocked my mic over, so we're doing great.
We're doing so good. Let's see. At one point I just said, honestly, Harry Potter is such a Halloween vibe. Like, it honestly is. Every time they talk about Halloween, it just sounds so cool. I've never been such a huge fan of it. I like dressing up, but not all the classic Disney Halloween movies or all the, I don't know, the Nightmare Before Christmas, that kind of stuff. I'm just like, I don't really care. But
the way that like Harry Potter does it, it's like Halloween is fun and pumpkins and
yeah,
like
and I
dark
love
and
that.
not like demons and ghosts and
Yeah,
I mean ghosts, but not like scary ghosts.
yeah. Nearly headless ones, perhaps.
Oh, nearly headless Nick.
Love that he saved the day.
We never find out what happens to him.
Oh.
I just realized that.
They just, like, blew him up the stairs with a hairdryer and left it at that. He doesn't come back?
Never. I think he does. But they, like, never, like, say anything about it. Do we have to assume that they gave him the mandrake juice stuff to a ghost? Or was it like he died and then he had to reset, like in a video game?
How would a ghost have been affected by it, though? That's what I want to know.
They mentioned it briefly that it's like, well, he couldn't have died again.
Right.
I don't know.
I just don't understand. That doesn't make any sense.
The fact that Oliver woke Harry and the rest of the team up at the crack of dawn, the like first day of school, to play Quidditch, is such a mood.
Love of my life.
Like, can anybody love Quidditch as much as Oliver loves Quidditch?
That's probably a no. We learned a lot of new words to call people in this book, like mudblood and squib. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I'd heard those terms before, didn't know what they meant, obviously.
Now you do.
Yeah.
How do you
Apparently
feel?
they're not great.
Squib is a lot less important than mudblood is, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I guess.
Because Hermione's a Muggleborn,
Yeah.
so it keeps coming back up.
Stupid. I mean,
But
makes sense.
none of them are squibs. So you like, there's a character later on that they mention as a squib, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But-
Oh, okay. Chapter 9, there's another thing. Like, when they found the hanging cat and the stuff drawn on the wall, the first person to say anything was Draco. And he said this weird stuff, and I was like, is nobody gonna talk about that?
I mean, Harry does for the rest of the book.
No,
What page?
Oh, good night
If you don't know,
and
I'm just gonna
day.
keep flipping until I found it.
No, I think it's at the end of chapter 8. Of course, that's where the page is ripped in half
Enemies
in my
of the
book.
air, beware, you'll be next, mudbloods.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, where did that come from? What the
Yeah.
heck?
We learn a little bit about Draco's dad in this book.
Yeah, not a whole lot, just that he's the worst.
He becomes more of the worst.
everyone's just the worst. Like, Snape is the worst. Lucius Malfoy is the worst. Lockhart is the worst.
Oh, you want to know
Voldemort's the worst.
You want to know something funny? Lockhart is a Ravenclaw.
That's unfortunate for you.
Because I was gonna say, notice a trend, they're all Slytherins, but Lockhart's a Ravenclaw, so...
Yeah. Sad day, huh?
This is, the beginning, well, the House Cup in the last book was the beginning, but this is just an escalation of the Slytherin shaming.
I mean, yeah, because they're high-key evil.
But only because she says they're evil. There's all, like, what are the chances that every single person in that house is a dark wizard? Like, what are the chances that you get, like, 60 kids all together and they all exactly the same? And they all happen to be purebloods?
Dude, she created the world. That's all I'm saying.
But
If
she
you
also
need...
gave us detailed description of all the houses, and evil wasn't one of them.
The whole thing is through Harry's point of view.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So...
But also she made the password to get into the Slytherin common room pure blood. Like, you could have chosen anything else.
Yeah, I mean, would you expect anything less?
No.
Because even if they're not evil, 90% of them are snobs and think they're better than everyone else.
You bring up a good point.
So, I'm just saying, like, yeah, maybe they're not, like, evil, but they, at least from Harry's perspective, they kind of suck.
Yeah. I'll bring that back up later when more things start happening. Because there's something I want to say, but I don't want to, like, spoil it.
Okay.
Yeah, also in the chapter 9, they talk about the Hogwarts founders.
Yeah.
And Salazar Slytherin is the worst.
Yeah.
That's
a little clue.
The Super Carlin brothers keep making videos trying to, like, defend Slytherin. Because they both are housed in Slytherin, and so they're like, maybe he's not terrible, but, like, he literally hid a snake underground.
Yeah.
And so they just had to be like, you know what? I think he's the worst. But also, like, later on, we learned that none of them are that great. The founders, they're all pretty awful. Except for Hufflepuff. Helga Hufflepuff did nothing wrong ever. She's an angel.
I'm not saying that I'm proud, but also, aren't I?
Yes.
Yep. I wish we had a better color, but whatever. I don't get to have it my way all the time, so.
Yellow and black.
Bumblebee. Okay, anyways,
This quote says, I always knew Salazar Slytherin was a twisted old loony. A+ Ron quote.
yeah. He also said, Lockhart will sign anything if it stands still long enough, so I love him. I love him so much.
This book was really good for Harry's, like, personal development.
Yeah.
Because I'm, like, jumping ahead, but he, like, spends a lot of this book being like, am I in Slytherin? Was I supposed to be in Slytherin? The hat wanted me to put me in Slytherin. And then, like, the sword falls out of the hat, and Dumbledore's like, only a true Gryffindor could have done that. And he's like, huh, guess I'm a true Gryffindor. And he, like, comes to this realization, and so, like, the rest of the books are just, like, him, like, building off of that. So I think it was a good moment for Harry.
Yeah. There was a lot of, like, identity struggle. There is throughout this whole thing, like, They're
when
all
you're
just little
12.
kids trying to figure out their crap.
That's one of the things that I think that I like read people say are really weird about Harry Potter is that they put a bunch of 11-year-olds with the exact same characteristics in a house together and are like, go. And so
Yeah.
you're like, one, that sounds like a very chaotic situation. Like putting all of the like brave, loudmouth people in the same house and are like, good luck. But then it's also 11-year-olds don't really know what they want,
Yeah.
which is why there's a sorting hat. So then the question is, does a sorting hat place you in the house that you're going to end up being more like, or the house that you are in that moment?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe both. You're talking about, like, sticking all the same people together in a house, and all I can think are every cabin at Camp Half-Blood. You just stick all the same people all in the same room. Have you ever thought about the Apollo cabin or the Ares cabin?
I've never thought about that because in my brain they're all just like half siblings. So it's like, of course they'd be in the same cabin.
Right, but they're all basically
But they
the
all
same.
have the same superpowers.
Yeah, the same traits, the same basic characteristics. Oh no, the Aphrodite cabin.
The
Oh.
Hermes cabin. They're just like stealing things.
Yes. So good. Oh, page 173. I was like,
Oh my gosh.
hey, that's my name. That's what's up. It's right there. Also, I just said boneless in all caps because I just thought that was funny.
That's funny.
Don't go boneless on me. Yep.
Oh, there. Lockhart will sign anything that stops moving for a while.
Yeah.
Classic. This book. Oh, my highlighted. I never thought I'd see the day when you'd be persuading us to break the rules, said Ron to
Oh my
Hermione.
gosh.
And I'm like, that's so true. So this book is just like Hermione doing all of the research and everything to figure out this whole plot, and then the boys figure it out in the end, but only because Hermione did like 95% of the work.
Sounds about
It's like
right.
the Vulture in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who like swoops in at the last second and like gets all the credit. Like Harry did all the hard work of like actually killing the bad guy, but Hermione figured the whole thing out.
Yeah. Hogwarts Christmas, also a mood. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to read this while it's snowing outside, but that'll never happen.
Just need to go up north for a day and
Yeah.
watch Gilmore Girls and read Harry Potter in the snow.
It's a mood. Such a vibe. I wrote, imagine what havoc Hermione could wreak if she were evil, aka Slytherin.
There are fan fictions about that.
Yeah. I can
Evil
imagine.
Hermione.
'Cause, like, she's so powerful.
That was literally one of the discussion questions when I looked up. Most of them were really dumb, but one of them was Tom Riddle was the top of his class, and so was Hermione. What would Hermione do if she hadn't found Harry and Ron?
Yeah.
I'm like, also, what could Hermione do if she was like still Hermione but wasn't a Muggleborn?
Yeah.
Like she would be full Dark Wizard.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Lockhart literally removing all of the bones from Harry's arm.
Boneless.
My favorite thing about this book is all of the foreshadowing. Not just like foreshadowing to future books too, but just within the book itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Harry meets with Dumbledore, and then Dumbledore's casually like, oh yeah, Phoenix tears, they heal. And then later, conveniently,
Yeah.
that's something we need to know.
Yeah. I thought it was important to know that Tom didn't realize that at first. He was like, oh,
Hmm.
the Phoenix is so sad because you're dying. Ha ha ha. And then he was like, oh, wait. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. I was trying to think of another example, but and just all the twists and turns it takes. Like,
Yeah.
at first you're like, oh, Malfoy's the heir of Slytherin, but then like Percy's acting all weird all book, and you're like, is
Yeah.
it Percy? And then like Jenny's acting weird, and then it's like it is Jenny, but you're like, who is it?
Yeah. I
Is it
honestly thought
Hagrid?
it was Percy most of the time. But I also, like, at the very beginning when they're still in the Weasley house, I was just like, he's probably got a girlfriend he's hiding. Like, I honestly thought that. But then they were like, oh, all this evil stuff's happening and he's lurking around corners and stuff. But maybe he's actually just making out with a girl. And turns out.
Yes. The fact that Hermione actually makes this polyjuice potion as a 12-year-old is very impressive.
Yeah. Dude. The fact that they all fit into a bathroom stall.
I know. I forget that they're like babies.
Little babies.
It talks about how they can. I don't know if it was this book, but at some point they talk about how they can all fit under the invisibility cloak together. And then
Yeah.
like later on, they're like, we can't all fit under it anymore. And I'm like, oh, they grew up.
Okay, so I'm about to skip to chapter 14. Is that okay?
Which one?
14.
Yeah.
Like, they find the diary, Tom Riddle's an orphan, Hagrid did a bad thing, whatever, yeah, all that happened. But then, and if you want to cut this out, you can. I just thought it was so funny that she made a sex joke. Did you catch it?
Probably not.
Because the Professor Sprout goes, the moment the mandrakes start trying to move into each other's
Oh,
pots, we'll know they're fully mature. And I was like, no! Oh my gosh! No!
I did not catch that.
I
I was just like,
just,
oh yeah, that's how you know they're fully mature.
no! I mean, I guess so. Oh my gosh. Because they went through all the stages of like, oh, crying baby. Oh, they're a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
toddler
acne.
now. Oh, they're hiding in their rooms because they're teenagers. Now they're having raves all the time. Oh, oh no. I just like making just she's making sex jokes about plants, and I can't. I just thought that was so funny.
If it's true though,
It's great.
I'm trying to find like fudge stuff. Because in later books, Cornelius Fudge is like portrayed as like a really dumb guy.
Yeah. He sounds like he looks like the Joker. Like pinstripe suit, green bowler hat, orange tie. And that's me describing the Joker and realizing it's the exact description they have for him. And I'm just thinking, but is he though? Slap on some lipstick and you're good to go.
Yes. Also, the fact that Lucius Malfoy just shows up and is like, oh, good job, Fudge. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, what are you even doing here?
Or the fact that the invisibility cloak only shows up when it's convenient. It's just a convenient plot holder.
But it's a cool plot holder. And she does use it consistently.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, like, in the first book you made that point, and I was like, oh, but it was really cool. And then in the second book, all I was thinking about was, okay, but he talks about his wand and his owl, where's his cloak? And all of a sudden, it just comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah. On the bright side, it's not like she used it and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
She does
That's
use
fair.
it in like every book.
I hated chapter 15. I could
The
not
spider
stop.
chapter?
Yeah, I could not stop cringing. I was like, oh, make it stop. Oh, no. I don't like
That's
it.
how Ron felt the whole time.
I hated it. I hated reading it. I was like, oh, I can hear it. Oh, I can hear the clicking. No, thank you.
I need to
That
send
doesn't
a
freak
gift
you out
from
at all? Because
book
I
6.
hate it.
Because it's a book. It's not real.
You need to have some imagination, Carrie.
You're right, I do. Let's talk to the people who teach us that as adults we're not allowed to have imagination anymore. They beat it out of you. Make you work in an office.
Anyways.
When 3 days before the first exam, Professor McGonagall made another announcement. She says, I have good news, she said. And then everybody was like, Dumbledore's coming back. You caught the heir of Slytherin. And then Wood is like, Quidditch is back. Love that man.
Yes. Oh my
I don't even know how old
gosh.
he is at this point. Forgot what year he's in.
Yeah, I don't know. I love him and never want him to leave. He just needs to stay forever, okay?
Now I have to look it up.
All I wrote for this one thing, it's in all caps. It goes, of course a basilisk. I should have known. Why should I have known? Because it's such an obvious thing. And like, in the second Percy Jackson book, that is also a thing. No, it's not the second one. It's the second Heroes of Olympus. Do you remember that? When the...
The Son of Neptune?
Yeah.
I literally don't remember that book.
Never mind then. I'm just saying, I feel like I should have known. Just because of the way they kept describing all the stuff, I was like, oh yeah. Of course.
Okay. Wood is in 6th year.
Ah.
That's good. He would have died 4th year. But that's not important.
Ah. And then I put, Ginny, no. Because I was very
Ginny's
sad.
such a good character.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about her poem. It was so cute.
Um,
I mean, it was like really bad, embarrassing for Harry, but it's really funny.
I
I
wasn't
remembered-
sure that she wrote it. That was
Yeah,
the thing.
She did it.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
I thought she did it earlier, but maybe she just does it earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just really confused.
Well, I mean, it does have to come after Christmas, so...
Yes. I felt so bad for Ron when like Jenny got captured. It's like, that's your little sister.
Well, the fact that they're hiding in a wardrobe and he can't make any sound and be found out and he just slides to the floor. I'm like, my whole heart is shattered. Don't worry about
No.
it.
I just think about, I mean, I've looked up the Weasley siblings' birth dates so many times. But basically, it's like Bill and Charlie, and then like a big gap, and then Percy, and then 2 years Fred and George, 2 years Ron, 1 year Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
And so like Bill and Charlie paired off, Fred and George paired off, and then Ron and Jenny paired off, and then Percy was just on his own. Just like how siblings work. And so it's like Ron and Jenny would be like really close.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's like your best childhood friend
Yeah.
that just got kidnapped.
They make her seem so much younger than she really is. Like, oh, you're a first year? Like, yeah, you're a second year, idiot.
But honestly, isn't that how it works?
Yeah, and I guess because it's in Harry's perspective, that makes sense.
I mean, like, once you're a sophomore, you feel like you know everything, and you're like, haha, little freshman, even though you literally were there like 2 months ago.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. My favorite quote of this book, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Page 300. You don't have a page 300, so don't worry about that. But it just says, the sink, in fact, sank. And that is gold. That's gold. Okay? That's it. That's my favorite quote. We can just be done. That's in chapter 16, so we can't be done. There's a lot more that happens, but...
Yeah. I think it was interesting to have this parallel, and I know it was very intentional because they keep bringing it up, but Tom Riddle as the true Slytherin and then Harry as the true Gryffindor.
Yeah.
And like there's like opposing forces.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know if this is just a Pottermore thing, if they mention it in the books at some point, but like Godric Gryffindor and Salazar Slytherin were like foes.
Mm-hmm.
Did it mention that in this book?
It might have. It just seemed kind of obvious, but maybe she did say
so it's
it.
like they're like the two sides of the spectrum, and like Harry's this side and Voldemort's this side, and they're like the true embodiment of those two sides, and so like of course they're gonna fight each other.
That's kind of how I feel. Like when I think about that, I think about Luke and Darth Vader, like the embodiment of the dark side versus the embodiment of the light side. That's what that makes me think of.
I have very complicated opinions about Darth Vader.
Yeah, just the basic, you know. I know
Darth
you
Vader,
have
no prequel backup.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. No Return of the Jedi at the very end. None of that. Get that out of here.
Just the Darth Vader chopping off Luke's hand.
Yeah.
The fighting in episode 5. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
No, I
just
get it.
his whole, like, you know, ruling the galaxy and Luke being the angsty teen that he is, and don't worry about that.
Aren't we all angsty teens?
Yeah.
Just kidding. We're both in our 20s.
We're still angsty, though. Don't worry about it.
Now we're just hot messes.
Yeah.
With loans.
Yeah. Don't worry about that, either. Lots of not worrying. Okay. I also put in all caps, Tom did this to Ginny, because I was really upset about it. I genuinely thought she had died, even though I figured she didn't, because you talk about her a lot. I was like, she's probably not dead, but I can't rule anything out. So...
Yeah. Also, Fox. Just all of it. Fun fact, I tried to look up where you found this out, and I couldn't find it out, so I was like, it's fine if I tell her. But Fox gave 2 feathers for wands, and one of them's in Harry's wand.
And the other's in Voldemort's.
Yeah.
That was in the first book, yeah.
That it was Fox?
I guess not. I guess they just said it was a phoenix, but yeah, I mean, I could have put 2 and 2 together, so.
I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, cool beans. Um,
Speak to me, Slytherin greatest of the Hogwarts Four. Hogwarts 4 sounds like a boy band. They're gonna come out with the mics on their face and like cool dance moves.
Ew. Gross. Um, I thought it was funny that he explained his entire plan to Harry. I was like, you are such a villain. Are you kidding me right now?
It's classic. Classic villain move.
Yeah, just explaining the entire thing. I'm like, how long did this take you to explain all this? It's several pages in a book. So it must have taken like 10 minutes, and Harry's just staring at him like an idiot.
The heroes never take that opportunity in the movies to just kill the villain.
No, never. Sometimes they take the opportunity to like get out of handcuffs and then they do something, and I'm like, oh, smart, that was genius. But no, Harry's dumb, so why would he? Why would he do anything like that? I mean, dude had his wand, but still.
A moment like that happened in the new Mulan, where like Mulan and the villain got really close, and I was like, stab him in the face. But he didn't, and it worked out in the end. But I was like, come on.
Also, okay, the name thing, the Tom Marvolo riddle, I honestly thought that was so genius. And I'm sure that's cliche, and everyone's like, oh, that, yeah, okay, whatever. I was blown away. That was awesome.
How long it took him to do that.
Yeah.
Because anagrams are really hard for me.
Yeah.
Like, I would have to write out every single thing and try, like, every combination, and it would take me hours.
Yeah.
Also, in the French version, they had to change his middle name to Elvis to have the letters to spell it out. Because in French it's Je suis Voldemort, and so they needed S's that weren't in Marvolo.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
That's just so fun. In the last chapter, my favorite quote is when McGonagall is like recapping. So he's like, so you found out where the entrance was, breaking 100 school rules in pieces along the way. But how on earth did you get out of there alive? And I'm like, okay, don't care about the rules, honey.
Yeah, like, is that really what's happening here? Okay, I guess. I thought it was so sweet that Harry explained everything. Then he's like, I'm just gonna cover for Ginny. I'm not gonna tell them the whole truth because
I think Harry at the beginning of these books is so funny because he's so scared of getting expelled. But then by the end, he just like no regard for the rules.
I mean, yeah, because he gets away with it every time.
Like, none of them do. They're all just like, breaking rules? This is normal.
Yeah, because they get in a little bit of trouble sometimes, but then usually the teachers are all sly and they're like, oh yeah, it's no big deal, and Snape's just pouting in the corner.
Yeah, but it happens not just with Harry. Like, Fred and George, like, never get in trouble.
Yeah, you're right. They're always...
Like, do they even have rules? Do they just say, like, these are our rules and then never do anything about it? Because there's just such favoritism. Because,
yeah.
like, no... Because, like, and if you break the rules, you have to lose house points. So if you get caught by your, like, house leader, they're not going to be like, oh, guess we have to remove points.
Or if they do, it's like, oh no, take away 5 points.
Like, Dumbledore's in Gryffindor, so he's just like, here, have 10 million points.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any more thoughts about the book?
A lot of people were quoting this in the reviews, the thing Dumbledore says at the end, his classic go fight win quote at the very end of the book. It is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are far more than our abilities. I really like that, obviously. She wrote it so everyone would like it and get it tattooed on their leg or something. Um,
Dumbledore has a lot of like when they're like taken out of context, you're like, wow, that's actually like a good quote.
yeah.
Like
Even
he's
in
like
context, it's so great.
Well,
You're
yeah.
like, wow,
just
he's a
later, like,
wizard.
his like motives are a little twisted, so you're like, oh, that's a good quote, but I think you're being really creepy.
Yeah. And then I got all chills and all happy when Harry freed Dobby. Of course I did. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. He didn't have to do that. Oh.
So Dobby is where the beginning of the Draco Harry stuff happens,
Ew.
because where did Dobby learn about Harry? Somebody has to be telling Dobby about him, and it's definitely not Lucius Malfoy.
But
Which
why
means that it has
not,
to be
though?
Draco.
Why wouldn't Lucius hate Harry?
But like, Dobby was like, I've learned all about your greatness. So like, they're talking about Harry in a somewhat positive light.
Anyways.
So the conclusion everybody makes is that Draco's just in love with Harry.
I now see where that comes from.
It's not true because J.K. Rowling would never do that.
Right. As some tweets have shown.
We're not going to talk about her.
No. Mm-mm.
So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how creepy was Dumbledore in this book?
In all honesty, not that much. I'd say maybe 4, just because they took him away. He wasn't there and prominent most of the time, so he couldn't have done that many creepy things. He didn't really get the chance.
Yeah, or manipulative, but he wasn't that manipulative in this book either.
Yeah.
4 seems like a solid number.
Yeah.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how terrible was Snape?
Like 6 or 7, just because he knew who did the fireworks and he didn't say anything. So,
I thought this was pretty mild for Snape.
yeah. So probably closer to 6.
Like, he didn't give anybody detention. But they
No.
don't spend a whole lot of time in classes in this book.
No, they don't.
Okay. Rank the Weasley siblings in this book.
I love them. They saved Harry, so like 10.
No, like, which Weasley sibling was the best?
Oh, my bad. I didn't.
Best or worst sibling?
Best to worst?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Percy was the worst this time around.
I was gonna say Bill or Charlie because they're not in this book, but...
Well, yeah, just the ones in the book. Like, Percy's just kind of lurking around, being creepy. You probably think he's evil, and he's just making out with girls in the hallway, and those people are always annoying, so...
It's just, Percy's just classic middle child.
Yeah. Oh. He's a poor thing. They're like, oh, how many times can you polish your badge, Percy? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, if Fred and George were my younger siblings, I would probably act that way too.
Yeah. Be like, gotta make the parents proud. And then I'd say Jenny's number 1.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what I
you
was
can
gonna say,
just
too.
kind of put the others in there. Ron's
say
probably second.
Jenny,
and-
Rod, Fred, and George as the same person in 3rd place.
Yeah, because they
And
are
Lizzie.
one entity.
Yes. And then rank the Defense Against the Dark Arts professors.
I mean, one of them was carrying around Voldemort all the time, and the other one was just a tool.
Uh-huh.
So
this is my favorite question ever. Because they're all awful.
yeah. I would
Well, not all of
say
them.
the
Most
Tool
of them.
wins by a short amount because his memory gets taken away, and so now he's just a useless piece of person. And then the guy who housed Voldemort and had an annoying stutter, yeah, that was fake. It was fake. And that makes me mad. So, you know what? No, he's the worst right now.
Lockhart's the hero of the book. You heard it here first, folks.
No.
Just kidding.
No.
Jenny's the best character.
Yeah. I love her. She's probably me, honestly. I'm just like, ooh, boy, I like Send Him a Valentine where everyone hears this awful poem I wrote, hides all the time. Yeah.
Here's my friend. Let me send her a Valentine's duck and then let her be serenaded in front of this professor she told her not to do that to. Hee hee.
I mean, I did do that, so you could say that I'm Jenny if I were a Gryffindor. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see more of Jenny. She'll
Yay.
continue to get more awesome.
Yes. We need more females. Sorry, Harry. Ron.
Yes.
All the
So-
Weasleys.
What would you rank this book? How many pineapples, Jade?
I mean, like 5. It's just kind of meh. It's in the middle.
I was gonna give it 6.5.
Well, there you go, folks.
So, any other things to say? Closing thoughts?
I'm excited to see the movie. Haven't seen it yet. I'm still, every book I read, I get more amped up to read the next one. So there's that.
Progress.
Yes.
There's hope, everybody.
Even though this wasn't like my favorite thing in the world, most sequels aren't. So there's that.
Yeah, I told her book 3 and 6 are my favorite. They're like my top 2. So we're getting to book 3, everybody.
We'll have
After
to
we watch the
see
movie.
like what my favorite book and movie are after this.
Yes,
Ooh.
that would be
Fascinating.
interesting.
We made the same head movement at the same time. Ew. No. Even long distance, we still are connected in every possible way. So.
My hair looks really good in this video. Anyway, nobody can see that.
It is time to stop.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Curly Critics Pod. Curly Critics Pod. I don't know if it sounded like that. And rate us 5 stars.
Pineapples. Come on. You know better.
You can't see me, but I'm smiling at you. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to check out this podcast from the WB&E Network.
This is an urgent message. If you or a loved one have been suffering from mild hallucinations,
Encountering what looked like a horde of zombies.
lack of fine motor function,
There was no parking, and I pulled up on the lawn and broke a sprinkler head.
the inability to sit for long periods of time,
Did you just break the chair?
Jordan is holding a chair arm up. Roll to sit. Oh, did not do so good.
trouble using your tools,
Are you gonna take another smashy smash?
I sure am. 13 probably doesn't hit.
Does not hit.
Sorry about the dice, Scott.
Or existential crises.
And I'm playing Sunny Days, a high elf cleric, a half elf cleric, a quarter elf cleric, a mostly human cleric, a mostly human but with a smidgen of elf cleric.
You may be entitled to podcasts. Ask your doctor about Late to the Party, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play podcast for the whole family. Available every other Monday on WBNE.org or wherever podcasts are sold.